Warriors predicted to land Jordan Poole replacement in Jonathan Kuminga trade. The Golden State Warriors are on the verge of a significant shift, as they are predicted to find a replacement for Jordan Poole through a potential trade involving Jonathan Kuminga. This situation has been brewing since the Warriors made the decision to trade Poole to the Washington Wizards back in 2023. Despite the challenges that led to his departure, Poole managed to average over 20 points per game during his final season with the team, showcasing his scoring ability. While Poole may not have been the most efficient shooter, his knack for putting points on the board was crucial in helping the Warriors clinch their fourth championship during the Stephen Curry era, marking the seventh title in the franchise's history. Since his exit, the Warriors have struggled to find a similar scoring threat coming off the bench, which has left a noticeable gap in their lineup. One potential avenue for filling this void is through a sign-and-trade involving Jonathan Kuminga, who is currently navigating the complexities of restricted free agency. The future of Kuminga within the Warriors organization remains uncertain, but there are indications that a sign-and-trade could be on the horizon. According to Brett Siegel from Clutch Points, there is optimism from both Kuminga and the Warriors that the Chicago Bulls might express interest in him. This could pave the way for a deal that would bring Ayo Dosunmu, a promising player who could serve as a suitable replacement for Poole, back to Golden State. Siegel noted, Kuminga and the Warriors alike have held out hope this offseason that the Bulls would be a suitor in a potential sign-and-trade scenario. In any scenario involving Chicago, Dosunmu would be the headline player going to Golden State. Dosunmu, while not having matched Poole's scoring averages in a season, had a solid performance last year, averaging 12.3 points per game with an impressive shooting percentage of 49.2% from the field. His current contract, which spans 3 years and totals $21 million, is set to expire next season, making him an attractive option for the Warriors. As the Warriors explore their options, the question remains, will this potential trade be the solution they need to regain their scoring prowess? Or will they continue to struggle in finding a suitable replacement for Poole? What are your thoughts on this possible trade? Do you believe Dosunmu could fill the shoes left by Poole? Or do you think the Warriors should look elsewhere? Share your opinions in the comments. Pacific Notes: Kuminga's dilemma, Kings rookies shine, LeBron's future, Butler's contract. Pacific Insights: Kuminga, Kings, LeBron, and Butler. The Golden State Warriors find themselves in a unique predicament as they remain the only team yet to make any roster changes since the onset of free agency. This situation is largely tied to the unresolved status of Jonathan Kuminga, as highlighted by salary cap expert Yossi Gozlan in his insightful column on Third Apron. It is widely believed that the Warriors have potential agreements lined up with notable players like Al Horford and DeAnthony Melton. However, these signings cannot be finalized until Kuminga's situation is clarified. If the Warriors decide to utilize their taxpayer mid-level exception, they will hit a hard cap at $207.8 million, which could open the door for another team to create cap space and extend an offer to Kuminga, potentially around $30 million annually, an amount that Golden State would struggle to match. Gozlan suggests that a sign-and-trade arrangement would be the most beneficial outcome for both parties involved. However, if the Warriors choose to re-sign Kuminga, they are likely to aim for a salary in the range of $22 to $23 million. This strategy would enable them to use the taxpayer mid-level exception and still add 3 additional players on minimum contracts while staying under the hard cap. Additional updates from the Pacific Division. Following an impressive showing in the Summer League, rookie Neek Clifford is expected to make an immediate impact for the Sacramento Kings, according to Jason Anderson from the Sacramento Bee. Clifford earned a spot on the first-team All-Summer League, and team officials are optimistic about his versatility, believing he can effectively play both guard positions as well as small forward. Furthermore, Anderson notes that Isaac Jones and Devin Carter have demonstrated readiness for expanded roles, while rookie center Maxime Reynaud will enter training camp vying for the position of primary backup center. As LeBron James approaches his 23rd season in the NBA, many are left wondering what lies ahead for the Lakers forward. In his latest Substack article, Mark Stein speculates that the 2025-26 season may mark James's final year with the Lakers, although he may not be done playing in the league altogether. Stein emphasizes that this is more of an instinctual assessment rather than concrete reporting. He also mentions that James appears to have a genuine interest in the possibility of playing in Dallas, despite his family being well established in Los Angeles. Jared Butler has signed a new one-year minimum salary contract with the Phoenix Suns, which is classified as a non-guaranteed Exhibit 9 deal. Notably, this contract does not include Exhibit 10 language, indicating that Butler is unlikely to play for the Suns' G League team unless he secures a spot on the regular season roster. What do you think about the Warriors' current situation with Kuminga? Is a sign-and-trade the best option, or should they re-sign him? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Jonathan Kuminga's contract dilemma. Should he take the qualifying offer? Should Jonathan Kuminga accept the qualifying offer from the Golden State Warriors? The answer is not straightforward, and here's why it matters. Jonathan Kuminga stands at a pivotal moment in his career, with opportunities just within his grasp. As a restricted free agent for nearly a month, he faces a crucial decision: to take the qualifying offer or to continue negotiations with the Warriors, the team that selected him 7th overall in the 2021 NBA Draft. The qualifying offer amounts to $8 million for a single season, allowing him to return to Golden State for another year, during which he would have the power to veto any trades. However, this choice could have significant repercussions for both him and the Warriors, especially if recent insights from The Athletic hold true. The Athletic conducted a survey among 16 professionals from rival front offices to gauge what they believe would be a fair contract for Kuminga in the current market. Their responses varied widely, with estimates ranging from $17 million to $25 million in average annual value, ultimately averaging around $20.4 million. Some executives proposed 2-year contracts, while others leaned towards 3- or even 4-year deals. Notably, one enthusiastic supporter of Kuminga's skills suggested a 5-year contract worth $125 million, drawing a comparison to Jaden McDaniels of the Minnesota Timberwolves, who secured a similar deal under comparable circumstances. While Kuminga's talent is undeniable, his performance has fluctuated throughout his first 4 seasons. Moreover, the situations surrounding McDaniels and Kuminga differ significantly, complicating direct comparisons. Currently, Kuminga is not alone in his restricted free agency predicament. He shares this status with players like Josh Giddey of the Chicago Bulls, Quentin Grimes of the Philadelphia 76ers, and Cam Thomas of the Brooklyn Nets. As summer progresses, the lack of available cap space for other teams has stalled the momentum for signing these players. The Warriors have explored potential sign-and-trade options for Kuminga but have encountered challenges. A specific rule in the collective bargaining agreement known as base year compensation complicates any potential trades by creating discrepancies between outgoing and incoming salaries. As it stands, the most likely outcome appears to be that these players will re-sign with their current teams. If Kuminga finds the Warriors' offer unsatisfactory, he might consider the qualifying offer. While this would pay him less than his market value for a year, it would also position him for unrestricted free agency in 2026, when more teams are likely to have cap space to make competitive offers. In restricted free agency, the player's previous team has the right of first refusal, which can limit the player's market options. If Kuminga were unrestricted, he would have the freedom to sign with any team he chooses. Interestingly, one executive who suggested a 2-year deal for Kuminga, who averaged 15.3 points in just 24.3 minutes last season, did not propose a short commitment out of doubt regarding his abilities. In fact, he expressed that Kuminga is the most favorable candidate among the remaining restricted free agents to take the qualifying offer. This executive proposed a compromise, a 2-year contract worth $45 million. He argued that as a wing player, Kuminga's minimum salary should align with the mid-level exception, allowing him to either risk a short-term deal or the qualifying offer. If he opts for the latter, there may be teams with cap space next summer that could be interested in him. Historically, some players have successfully accepted qualifying offers, leading to lucrative contracts the following season. For instance, Ben Gordon took a qualifying offer years ago, had a stellar season with the Bulls, and subsequently secured a significant contract with the Detroit Pistons. Conversely, there are cautionary tales such as Nerlens Noel, who rejected a substantial extension and opted for the qualifying offer, only to find himself with a minimum contract the next offseason. However, one could argue that accepting the qualifying offer might pose a greater risk for the Warriors than for Kuminga. One executive noted that if Kuminga were to take the qualifying offer, it would severely hinder the Warriors' ability to build their team, as they would need to secure him on a contract that allows for potential trades. Since losing Chris Paul last summer, the Warriors have been actively seeking a replacement, not necessarily a traditional point guard, but someone whose salary aligns with Paul's. In today's NBA, teams often enhance their rosters through trades rather than free agency, where salary matching rules are increasingly stringent, making mid-level salaries particularly valuable. The Warriors' decision to trade for Paul was partly to create a salary slot, swapping Jordan Poole for the future Hall of Famer, who earned just over $30 million in the 2023-24 season. With Paul now signed with the San Antonio Spurs, that salary slot has vanished. Teams across the league strive to maintain those mid-range salary slots for as long as possible. Kuminga's free agency presents the Warriors with an opportunity to establish a new chain of valuable contracts. Even if the Warriors do not envision Kuminga as part of their long-term plans, given his inconsistent fit and the frequent changes in his role, they may still view him as a valuable trade asset. The Warriors are in dire need of a player within that salary range, more so than any other team. Currently, only 3 players on their roster earn over $20 million. Stephen Curry and Jimmy Butler, both max players, and Draymond Green, who will earn $25.9 million this season and is a cornerstone of the organization. Meanwhile, contributors like Moses Moody and Buddy Hield will earn $11.6 million and $9.2 million, respectively, while the remaining players earn significantly less. The Warriors require players and a desirable salary range between Moody's and Butler's to facilitate mid-season acquisitions of significant talent. Kuminga is young, talented, and has garnered enough interest within the league to meet this need. One respondent, who suggested a 3-year, $53.5 million deal with a player option, expressed uncertainty about Kuminga's value, particularly given the Warriors' need for a tradable salary. This contract proposal was among the more conservative suggestions. Other proposals included a 2-year deal with a hefty payment of $22.5 million per season, while 3-year deals ranged from $51 million to $70 million. Notably, 5 of the 10 respondents who suggested 3-year contracts included a player option, reasoning that if Kuminga is not receiving a substantial contract now, short-term flexibility could lead to better opportunities in the future. If Kuminga were to sign a contract like this, he could play for 2 more seasons and then enter the market again in 2027 as an unrestricted free agent, when more teams might have cap space. One team official suggested that if he were the agent, he would advocate for a short-term deal to secure immediate earnings while positioning for a more lucrative contract down the line. Negotiators often reference comparable contracts to determine fair compensation for their clients. In this context, the executive who proposed the largest 3-year deal, $70 million guaranteed, averaging $23.3 million per year, drew parallels to another young, high-scoring player from the same 2021 draft class as Kuminga. Jalen Green, who was selected 5 spots ahead of Kuminga, signed a 3-year, $105 million contract with the Houston Rockets last year, which will take effect this season. While Kuminga has not yet demonstrated the same level of achievement as Green, the underlying principle remains relevant. Both players are similarly aged and possess immense talent, capable of explosive performances, yet their score-first approaches can elicit mixed reactions from their respective teams. The team official who suggested the 3-year, $70 million contract remarked, "It feels like a Jalen Green-type deal that keeps him tradable, definitely less than he probably wants, but the player option gives him some flexibility. Interestingly, if Kuminga were to sign a contract like this, he could find himself in a situation similar to Green's. Just a month ago, 1 year after Green's extension with the Rockets, Houston traded him. Because they had his salary on the books, they only needed to include one other significant player, Dillon Brooks, in the deal for Kevin Durant. A mid-range salary for Green facilitated the acquisition of a superstar, while landing a generational scorer like Durant is the ideal scenario. It illustrates how salaries similar to Green's, especially for young players with potential, keep options open for organizations. The Warriors will want to maintain flexibility to seize immediate upgrades, particularly as Curry, Butler, and Draymond Green age into their mid to late 30s. Meanwhile, Kuminga, like any player, will be seeking a lucrative contract. Despite the challenges posed by restricted free agency, both parties can still reach a beneficial agreement.